Hello everyone. Yes, today I'm making the fifth movie. The fifth movie will handle you the question for chapter 5. Okay, let's go to see chapter 5 together. This is the title of chapter 5, Modes of International Transport. After we see the title, we will go to the content. The first main point contains freight forwarders. Under freight forwarders, we have point 1, services provided by freight forwarder or services of freight forwarder. We have 5 based on this book. 1. Advice. 2. Documentation. 3. Customs clearance. 4. Transport booking. And 5th, group H or grouping. When we use the services provided by freight forwarder, the user will have the advantage. So second point, advantages of using freight forwarders. 1. Expertise. 2. Contacts. 3. Facilities. 4. Convenience. However, we also have the other side. Besides advantages, we also have disadvantages from using freight forwarders, such as increased cost, loss of control. Okay, so this is the freight forwarders. Second main points of the chapter 5, modes of international transport. First, sea freight. Under sea freight, we have liners and trams. We have charter party. So under charter party, we have 1. Voyage charter, time charter, barboat charter. And third one, types of sea freight services. 1. Conventional. 2. Containerized. Under sea freight forwarder, we also use different mode of sea freight together that we call multimodal. First, through documentation. 1. Through documentation. 2. partial efficiency. 3. Specialist by services. Besides sea freight, we have rail freight, road freight and rail freight. Next, air freight, group H or grouping, express operations. 7. Choosing a mode of transportation. In order to choosing the mode of transportation, we look at 1. Destination. 2. Availability. 3. Type of goods. 4. Speed of transit. 5. Cost. And 6. Freight calculation. Freight calculation in terms of what mode. First one, sea freight calculation. Second one, road and rail freight calculation. Third one, air freight calculation. 7. Classification rates. 8. Unit load service rate. 9. Freight of all kinds. 10. Last point, total distribution cost. Okay, so these are the content for chapter 5. And after we see the content, you see the just questions. When you see the content, is a little bit detailed because I take from the textbook. But when you see the questions tend to be less number of questions, but each question should be answered long. Should be answered long, because you can see the content from previous slide. Okay, look at the first question. First question: what are shippers? Shipper, freight forwarder, and carriers. Okay, so in order to do this one, maybe you go to the Google or YouTube, because textbook may be less detail about shippers and carriers, and also less explaining about freight forwarders. But however, in terms of freight forwarder, you can use figure 5.1.1. Okay, because when you go to figure 5.1.1, freight forwarder is the middle one. On the left hand side on this figure you can see cheaper, and the right hand side you can see carrier. Okay, so this is just asking a definition of the meaning. The other question: could you explain how each freight forwarder deal with future developments? What does it mean, future developments? So when you read the textbook will guide you what does it mean, future developments, and the textbook also will tell you how freight forwarder work in order to catch up, in order to get market competitive in terms of future developments. Second question. Actually, when you look at the second question, it's very short, only it's one line. But when you look at the content, yes, it's a bit longer. Could you explain the services provided freight forwarder or forwarder? Third one. Could you explain the advantages and disadvantages of using freight forwarders? So maybe you can get it from the textbook directly, or you can get it together textbook with the other sources, Google or YouTube. But even though you get from a textbook or Google or YouTube, don't forget to cite the source in your answer and cite reference at the end of your answer, not your answer, everyone's answer. Okay, reference should be at the end of everyone's answer, not on actually not only each student, each reference. Fourth, what are the modes of international transport? What are modes of international transport? Could you explain each of them? Could you explain each of them? Each of them, what are they? Sea freight, multimodal freight, road rail freight, or air freight. Okay. Last one, question number 5. Could you explain how is each mode of transportation chosen? How is each mode of transportation chosen? Why people choose sea freight? Explain why people choose road or rail freight, and why people choose air freight. Okay, so these are the questions for chapter 5. When you look at the question, it's only 5 question. It tends to be shorter, but remember that the question is shorter. The question will ask you a lot of information, but the question tend to be longer. The question give you some information already. That's why this, when you look at the question, it's short, only one slide, but when you look at the content, you see it's long content. That's why these 5 questions will cover all these points content. Okay, this point content. So this is question 5. Yes, 5 questions. Okay, this is the end of my slide. So just go to see briefly in our textbook. Okay, chapter 5. Modes of international transport. This is the first, the author talking about UK, and then freight forwarders. So this one actually author not mentioned clearly what the definition or the meaning of freight forwarders, but you can find from the other sources. But however, when you see this graph figure 5.1.1, you can see freight forwarder is between shippers and carriers. Okay, you can read that one in order to get the content. So the next one we look at the services provided by forwarders or freight forwarders. So I also got in my slide for the content. Yes, one service, documentation, custom clearance, transport booking, and wage. Okay, wage is like you can see. You can read from that one in order to answer your question. Again, question is short, but it doesn't mean that you answer a short one. When you write your answer, you need to cover almost everything. But when you talk in terms of presentation, you need to summarize what you what you wrote. Okay? Advantages of using freight forwarders: expertise, contacts, facilities, convenience. We also have disadvantages of using freight forwarders: increased cost, loss of control. Mode of transportation will have 3 freight. Okay, based on figure 5.1.2, alternative forms of ocean cargo carriers, we have liners or trams. Okay, you can read that one, but sometimes it's not so clear. So it's not so clear, you can go to Google in order to make it to find the clear definition. Okay, you can read from that one. Charter party, voyage charter, time charter, and barboat charter. Types of the freight services: conventional, containerized. Okay, we have C here, and then we are multi-modal under yes C freight. Through documentation, batch agency, specialist batch service. Road freight. Okay, it's a little bit shorter, but you can find from the other sources in order to make it a little bit longer and more detailed. A railway also short. You can find the other. Air freight. So this is not railway. This is rail freight. Rail freight. Air freight. Group H. Okay, group H. What does it mean? These apply for all transport and describe grouping. Number of distinct export consignment into one unitized load. Okay, that's why it's called group H or grouping. Express operations. What does it mean? Like we can read there. Choosing a mode of transport. Look at definition, availability, type of goods. We have type of goods. We have size, segregation, frequency. But in the question, in the content, I don't put too much detail in terms of that one, but in the answer must be a little bit detailed. Value, okay, perishability, special requirements, speed or transport, speed or transit, cost, freight calculation. We have C freight calculation. Okay, this is like example. You can see destination. Commodities. Commodity that means product or merchant. Product there be just products. Box rates. What does it mean box rate? I will hear from presenter. Ad volumes. Oh, what does it mean ad volumes? Maybe yes, presenter must be tell me clearly what does it mean ad volume. It's very important for exporter, exporter, importer. Conference discount rebate. Okay, and currency adjustment factor, bank adjustment factor. Okay, a little bit detail here in terms of calculation. There are one road and real Fred calculation. This is short one, but you can find from the other sources in order to make more example detail. Air Fred calculation, classification rates, ULD, unit load device rate, FAK, Fred all kinds. That's one total distribution cost. Okay, this is the last one. Our total distribution cost also have some article reading, and you have one table figure, figure 1.5.3 and the other figure 1.5.4. okay, this is at the end of chapter 5. So I will finish this movie and then turn it to you for working as a group, but working as a group for presentation is individual presentation. And just comment when you watch. Don't forget to comment, to click like, and to subscribe if the one who not yet subscribed. Okay, turn to you for working for the chapter.